Hi everyone. Today I'm showing you a review and tutorial on how to make your collage papers and the palette that I've chosen, the color schemes, and the finishing touches. So these are not attached yet, and so we'll be attaching that. I didn't want the video to be super long, but I think you'll be able to maybe understand the steps, because I'll do a small piece, but this is my collage grid. It comes up with 4 of them. Once I get this on the table, you'll be able to see it better. So just moving on. So the idea is that you choose 2 primary colors, which your primary colors, there, from the wheel here, color wheel. Okay, so your primary colors are the red, the yellow, and the blue. So you just pick 2 of them, like the red and the yellow. So the red and the yellow will give me all this spectrum. And if I were to choose like the blue and the yellow, then I would have gotten like all this spectrum. So right now I'm working on this spectrum. So it's the warmer colors. And what I've chosen is different colors, and like different shades will give you different values and hues, right? And then you can add a little bit of white and some black. So I had some magenta, different shades of yellow. These are just dollar store paint and different folk art paint. So different shades of yellow, and then I decided to go with the darker reds, which is the burgundy kind of shades. I even have like a red, and so you can see, and kind of like an orangey too. So I kind of used a combination of all those, plus other paints. There. So, just going to show you real quick what I ended up with. Now, some of these I did on the jelly plate, some I just painted. But you use different types of paper. This is just what you called your brown packing paper. And I used the jelly plate, and I used just the black and just different mark making on it. So I ended up with this kind of a color. Same thing with these. This is tissue paper. This is actually calligraphy kind of a paper. So I used all different kinds of paints that were used with the brayer on my jelly plate. So I'll be doing a tutorial on those as well. But just to give you an idea, this is just a book page, and I basically just splattered it with some red ink and some black markings. So here I had brayered, and then this was actually my blotting paper. So it just ended up with a whole bunch of different shades depending on what colors I was mixing. This is just bubble wrap that I printed on with the black. So some of these papers I like the colors, and some I didn't like the colors as much, but I'll use it in something else. This was done with a stencil and some of the spray, just distress spray inks. So I have different patterns. Some came out really pinky, depending on the colors that I mixed, right? If I added some black, then it became more like a grape color. Did some neutral colors, and these are just used with like a regular, just a little cap. There's little caps that I just dipped it in the black ink, and these are pretty much the same, just different little patterns. But the colors, if you mix them too much, they'll become more muddy. But I was experimenting and I was playing. I really like the little white in this, so I'll use it for something. And this is that calligraphy paper again. And this is just photocopy paper. I think I did both sides. See this, I painted it on, did some blotching, didn't really like it. So then I used that same piece of paper to lift the print on the jelly pad. jelly plate. Oh, there. So just quickly showing you, this is actually just a steel wool, and I just kind of just twirled it. So I like the grainy look of it, right? It's kind of fun. And this is just a larger brush, and I just kind of like, you know, thick bristles, different marks. This is more of a cardstock. I find it too thick. Experimented with different types of papers. This is just brush strokes. Same thing with this one. So this one here was just a little painting and then just marking with these distress type crayons. So some of these I liked and some of them I didn't like, but I'll have these papers will do another project for sure that I'm coming up with. And it was done again with the steel wool, so that I brought the white out. And this one I like the calligraphy paper because it's kind of yellowish, so when I did this I like the color that it left. And yeah, so you can put some of your paint and then spray it with water so you get that really distressed look. So, and I think that's it. That's all. Okay, so those are some of the papers that came up for this project. Okay, so I'm doing the collage in those color schemes, mix the paints together. And then the other thing that I did, which is what I'm going to do the finishing touch with you guys on my collage. These are all, this is all tissue paper. And I took some modeling paste and I took a stencil and I stenciled the modeling paste. And so now I've decided to cut some of these and then I'm going to apply them to my collage as a finishing touch. I've actually just taken markers and made just all kinds of different markings, like small pen and then a larger one, but you get the idea. So you can have different texture. So it's with the modeling paste, and at the end I did it with the modeling paste is a little lighter and more grayish in tone, and then I decided to use gesso, white acrylic paint, and then you can thicken it up with some baking soda, so it makes a nice thick paste, because if it's too runny, it's going to, I don't know if you can see, it's not as clear, but I had put too much in the paint, and the paint was too light, so then I have to thin it out. I'll probably do another little maybe tutorial on those, but I had all these different stencils, and so I think these are going to look really nice on certain projects instead of, you know, oh, it's kind of pretty. So anyways, I have a whole bunch, and just a note to make sure that you wash your stencils, because you'll end up with this. I had a couple of stencils that I tried, and they had already some, like I didn't wash the stencil, and so there was some blue on it, and of course it bled through. So, but this might be okay for another project, and I could always add more ink to this and change the color to it, so it's not wasted. Same thing with this one. I had used different inks, and they are not water, they're not permanent, so they're, as soon as moisture or water gets to it, it'll bleed over. So make sure to just keep your stencil clean if you don't want to have that. So that was the fun part of doing that. So now I'm going to show you, these are just all my little pieces. I usually put them all together. So what I did with this one, okay, so this is the book. It's my big journal. It's a disillusion journal. And so I made the big grids, the 3x5 grid. So now I'm going to be showing you, I'm just going to put these. What I did is I took an index card. Okay. So I took this is a 3x5, 3x5 index card, and so I was able to fit 4 of them here. Now, you could draw the lines and then collage all inside there. That was too precise for me. I didn't really enjoy having to make sure I didn't go outside the line. It was much easier for me to do my collage here, and if I went over, I could always turn it around and just make sure I cut it so that it was even. And then I ended up actually working on this side, and I glued this down. So this is actually glued down on my journal to show the grid, right? This could be 4 little individual little canvas, anything that you want to do, cards. So now I'm going to do an example how I did these on a 3x3 that I could eventually do grids here. I could do 1, 2, well, I could do them this way too on the long. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I could do 6, a grid of 6 using the 3x3. So all I did was take my card and I just cut this piece off. Okay, so now that it measures 3x3 on all sides. So now I'm going to show you the collage using the same papers. Oh, I'll open this up, I'll put this back, and then we'll finish this one up. All right. So the other thing that I do is I'm just going to put this piece of paper here so you can maybe see the white better. And then after that, I'll show you some other things that I do. But I still have some pieces here from all the other collage in that book. Those were the little leftovers, or the pieces that I didn't want to use. I had started with this color, didn't like it so much because it was too fuchsia to match with the rest for my liking. All right, so basically it's not very complicated other than just cutting the sizes that you want. Now, in my first grids that I did, I actually did them more like square pieces. Okay, like I could use this piece here. I could use a square piece, and then I could actually take some of these ones and cut them differently, which I'll probably do, so it'll show you a different way of doing it. So let's see. When you're doing the grid, what you have to keep in mind is just to keep all the, if you're putting one of these in your grid, make sure you have enough to put in all of them so that it's unified, that there's the same piece of collage running through. So if you have this one and this one, and then you decide to put, I need a lighter color. Let's see. Let's see, which one do I want? These are quite light. These I had actually played with it after, and I had added more inks. And the same thing with this piece. Okay, so I would like to have a darker piece. So these two are more dark, and this is darker, even yet. So you can decide to put your piece of paper. It's too linear, right? So let's see. So you use the combination that you like the most, right? So if this is the combination that you like, you would just glue these down. So the idea is to use 1, 2, 3, 5 papers at the least. at the most, at the least. Okay, so I'm having one of those days. All right, so your grid could be like this. Okay. But then I'm not having a lot of yellow. So it depends on what you want to do. If you want a little bit of yellow, I think you could go in after and add maybe some more yellow. Okay, so this could be one of your little squares. Okay. Ideally, if you can use 3 to 5 pieces of paper. If you sometimes put too much, then it gets a little lost in the, or it gets busy. Now you can add more marks to this. You can add some of the you can add some of these in there. So there's lots of different things that you can do. But basically, that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it would be to have your papers not all square. And they can be cut up into pieces. So you would have more of this idea. Don't like the white so much on there, so I'm just going to rip it with my fingers. So I can have this here, this here, there. So there's lots of different ways of doing this. As you can see, just have to move this a bit. There. So you could have this kind of idea. Oh, I think I'm not in line with the camera. Sorry. There. So you could have that kind of look as well. So you just have to keep placing. So then you know, okay, this one is going to go first, then that one, then this one on top, and then this one all on the top. So if I was going to glue this, right, there. So I would want to have these, actually I could have it going across this way. It'd be easier than going underneath, but as you're putting them, you'll know. Okay. And that could be cut here and then start again on the bottom. Or you could use a different piece. Let me see, what else do I have? I'm just plain, oh, okay, how about these? What I did is I cut out some of the circles. This would work. Let's see. So, I would put this and this. Comme ça. Yes, I am French. Okay. Alright, that, okay, right, so I can see these underneath. I just have to maneuver these for where I want them, and they could be underneath. Or something straight. Let me see. Oh, maybe this one would do, right? So you keep playing with your pieces until you like it. So the square pieces are obviously easier to play with because you can kind of fit them in there, right? So you can do this part, do this part, you can do it underneath. And so you would end up with this. And you could end up with this part on top or underneath. You could have it underneath one and over the other, whichever you want. So basically this is how your collage, your little mini collage would look, and you would make 6 of those so that you could glue them in your book or whatever, a grid of 4 or 6, whichever. But basically that's how this is done. So usually there's a lighter color, more of a neutral, I guess, color, and your darker shade, medium kind of shade. So these are with the colors that you had, the red and the yellow. So you just play with it and get different values in the red, different values in your orange, and then yellow. And then you just kind of play with them. And you can add some of the darker pieces if you want. And this one here was, I added these after, which is with the ink. So I thought it was this paper that I use, but I thought I'd like the red or burgundy-ish magenta color because I already had a little bit of black there. So that's that, and I save all these little bits and pieces so that I can do other collage, because I've got other projects with all your collage that we can do scrolls and rolls to make fodders for your collage, and we can do actually like little scroll books too, which is kind of fun. So that'll be on another video. Okay, so alrighty, so we did that. Now this is my paper. I'm gonna do the finishing touches on the ones that I have started and glued in my book. As it takes a while for some of the things to dry. And oh, where are we? Okay, so with these I've decided I was gonna glue them at certain spots, and I use the matte gel medium to glue them, especially with the tissue paper. It'll make the tissue paper, this is a matte gel medium. You can get it in a tub or in a tube like this. So I'll be using this, and I use just a little foam brush to kind of add them. So the flowers, I had them for that side, and I had these for over here, that, and the rough side. Because when you do them, you can tell this is the part that's flat, and this is the one that's up. And the flowers are going to go over there somewhere. Okay. Yeah. I think this is pretty much how I decided I was going to do them, in this kind of order. All right. So, and I had just glued all of those down with all these little pieces of paper. I had just glued them down with my my glue stick, and but now I give them all a nice coat. With the matte gel medium. It's going to take a while to dry. Now this is going to dry clear, so it's going to, you won't see the tissue paper. That's just going to disappear. once it's dry. Oh, I think I have one more here. I'm basically putting it over the darker pieces, as it'll show up better. So I'm putting the gel down, and then I'm putting it on top. Of this. So it's going to have to dry. As I said, and it's going to dry clear. And while it's drying, I'll do some other little projects. Hopefully it'll be dry enough for you to see. But oopsie, come on. Of course, it's always different when you're doing it live. So I'm just learning to try to get my lighting right. Because I was having like shadow and a lot of, I have a clear plastic on my desk. And that gives off some reflection. So I'm just going to cut off this piece. Oh. Until I get used to doing the videos. And knowing where all my things are, because I'm standing, I'm trying to keep an eye on the video so that I'm in focus. I hope. There. I think I was not too much in the view. There, maybe that's better. There, so this will all dry clear. That's what I like about tissue paper. It just kind of melts right in. Now on this side, just different ways of let me see, I'll put that one there. Oh, I'll actually put this long one here. That one here. So this is on this side. I think I'll just kind of randomly put it somewhere, just so it's different, a tad different. And this was actually tissue paper as well that I had just made different little marks on. But I had just put the glue stick to it, so now I'm going to go over and put some of the matte gel medium so that it can sort of melt into the design as well. Same thing, there's some here. So, just to give it a little bit of interest. And so the finishing touches is It's always fun to add either some black or some white. Kind of makes things pop. I think I'm going to try doing some splatters maybe, and see what that does on maybe one page or the other. I'll have to decide. And this morning I played a little bit with some of these crayons, this one, and I made just a little line because everything is linear, so I may decide to do this with because it makes everything pop. I use that, and a stabilo. This, if it comes into with water, you put this on and it's going to get really black. So I didn't really wet it, but if I go with the the matte gel medium, it will activate it. And I'll show you that in a second. I'm just going to put this down. There. Oh. So the Stabilo, I put it a bit here, so you'll see if I put this matte gel medium over it, it's going to activate it and it's going to make it much darker. And you can see that. On this side I had put the other distress pencil in that kind of grapey color, but then I put black on it. So you see the black is coming off on my sponge. So it gives it like a more shading, right? So I may do more of that. See how? Okay. Maybe that's better. But how it brought out this black line here and here. So this was me just playing around with it because now I have other pages like there, the square, where I may want to try that and make them all pop out, right? So let me see if I can zoom out a bit so you can see. Maybe that helps. There. So I could do the same thing here. I could kind of do these little lines. So this is, now my brush has got some black on it, so I'm going to have to rinse that and wash it out because this is glue, so it's going to harden up my brush. Okay, so this has to dry for a little bit. So while this is drying, I'm going to just pause for a second and then I'll wash my brush and then I'll come back. Okay, so I'm going to finish this one so that we can play with it. So I'm just putting all the different little pieces here that I like. I think I prefer it with this like that and like that. So this is just basically quick gluing, like so. I'll have to cut this and decide what I want to do. So this is how I did the other pieces. I just glued all my collage and just trimmed off the excess. And there you go. So this is the one that I'm left with right now. I don't know if I want to add some of the dark piece, but I could. Oh. It's heavy, so maybe just a little bit. I don't know. I'm not decided. So that's okay. We're not gonna play around and guess too much. I do have some of these that I could put if I want more, but I can also do mark making. So maybe that's what I'll do, and we'll see how that goes. There, just put my glue away. And this is a great idea. I hate putting my glue stick and it keeps falling, so I use these little shot glass, and it just seems to make my glue stand up and stay in place. I kind of like these lines, but you don't see them that much. Maybe I'll play with my crayons or inks. Okay, so maybe I'll bring it up close. Zoom in. Whoa. I told you guys I'm not a professional. So, okay. Hope you guys are still watching and having fun. All right, so there's lots of things that we can do with these. And like I said, the Stabilo is one of them. We can use that. We can use some of the, these are distressed inks. There's some fuchsia here. Actually, they're distress watercolor pencils, so you can use any kind of watercolor pencil. You can use your own pencils, but you can play with these if you want it to have more definition. And I think I had played with different colors here, and then I put some water, but just to kind of show you, doesn't really matter. But I'm just going to use a little bit of different colors, and I think the idea is to just really not overthink it and just kind of just go with it, right? And then you can just take a little tiny brush and just add more color, or the colors that you want inside these. Can be more of the reds. And whatever marks that you make, it doesn't really matter, because you can add a little bit of water, no water. Just keep making the marks. So this is almost gold color. I could even try playing with a Posca pen and gold. This is a gold pen, and it's very fine. Let me see. Oh, it's really small and really fine. I don't really see it that much, so it's not really something I will do. Maybe I'll try. I do have some gel pens, so this is all part of experimenting, right? So it's fun to do a small piece, because then you can kind of play with it, right? So this is a gel pen. I'll see if this gives me more of a... You don't see it as much. It's there, depending on what it is you want to do. Now, I do have a larger... where are you? Oh, this is a larger one in gold. And this might be fun to try, just doing... Oh yeah, that you see. Okay. It doesn't matter what you want to do. Is try different things on your, because this was a little thing that I dabbed with the ink. Oh yeah, and the ink is fun because, let me see, where's my little, oh, I think it's in my desk. I hide stuff all the time. Okay. And of course the Stabilo would be black or dark. You may like it, you may not. One thing you can do is maybe just do the outline on the edge like this, and then a little bit of water, and hopefully you can see what that's doing. And if you don't like how dark that is, you just add a bit more water to your brush, and you can kind of brush some of it off, right? It's great for shadowing. Anyway, that's all one way of doing it. Now, what I did with these, I believe I used these inks. There. This one is quinacridone magenta, and then I had used this one, which was just a, oh, I can't even read those, crimson. All right, it's more of a red. Doesn't really matter where I put it. And then the yellow, and these are acrylic inks. I have acrylic paint that I used, acrylic inks. Alright. So what I did with this one, and we'll do it with the the yellow, and I just painted the rim. Oop, like this, and there you go. So you can put as many of those as you want. There. So these are just different ways that you can decorate, and then you can put the white on it would look nice too. Let me see, the white Posca pen. That's like the gold, but just with the white. We could use the white acrylic paint. Some of these little jars, and I like using. Okay, so I like using these little sponges. Now this one, it got hard at the end, so I'm just going to cut off a little. I use it for the white. Oop. There, it doesn't really matter. I just like the little pattern that it does, but the black side is all dried up. So just dip it in the white. Now these are little containers you get at the dollar store to put your salad dressing, but I find it keeps the paint nice for me for a little while, so I'm not using or throwing out too much paint. So I just put a little bit of this, and then I'm just gonna kind of dab a little bit here and there, and just kind of give it like a more textured look. Now you could do that, or you could do with a credit card. Where did I put you? Sometimes I'll put the paint at the end, and I'll just kind of, so you get that little painterly look. You can also add, I like doing it this way because I'm just adding some water, a little bit of my paint, and I can make some splashes, right? And I can do it with the black as well. Black might be, hold on, where's my black one? Oh, here's the black one. I'll do it with the black because it'll show up better. But yeah, so basically it's the same idea. I just use my, hope I'm in focus there. Oop, a little bit of water, and then I'll just take a little bit of paint. Add a little more water. There we go. That'll be nice and soupy. There. So, and then this, I have it for whenever I need it. I just really close this. Oh, of course, made a miss. All right. So that's basically that. Whoa. Now I have some of this paint left, and I wanted to show you what I did with my leftover paint. We're going to put this away. All right. So these, you can put them in different ways that you want. If you don't like this orange, you can just go back over and you can use some of the ink. You know, just add a bit of the ink. That's going to make it a different color. I can actually take this and put dots of it here. Spray a little bit of water on it. And you know, let it drip. Sorry. There. There. So there's, you know, putting a little bit of ink and then spraying it and then letting it kind of drizzle all over. So there's different techniques of doing your grids, and then you can put them the 3x3 or 3x5. So with the leftover paint that I have, I like doing, and I'm going to show you what I've done with the same color scheme, because it's fun when you're using the same palette, I guess, because that's what I'm doing now, is just challenging myself with using the same palette for projects. And so this one here, I'm just going to move to my page, and I'll show you guys something else with that. So, this is my, I guess the reds, but these are in the ink, or it would be watercolor, because it's fun. What I'm doing is a watercolor. So, using the color scheme, this is what I made with the leftover paint. And I'll show you guys how I did that. It's very simple. You just take your paper, and I like making leaves because I'll show you what I make with them after. So I just make a line and then like a thick, so the outline of a leaf. Okay. Oop. And I'll just put some water in it. There. And I take my brush And I will go with my dark color, and all I do was just tap the water, and it's going to go where the water is. It really won't go any further than where I kind of put it. My brush was a bit dirty, I think. Still had some of the black on it. That's okay. Doesn't matter. And so by just touching the water and just dabbing it, it's going to give me these really different effect. And so, see how the paint is just kind of playing with itself. Okay, I'm gonna clean my brush better, and I see my tray. Well, doesn't matter. I like having all these different shades and colors, and so it's up to you. I like the messy kind of look, I guess. And so it's just hard to see like where you put the water, but you just have to tilt your paper, and then you can see where the water kind of is a bit. I think there's some purple in here, that's why I'm getting that. So we'll just use this color for now. I like using the darker color a little bit on the outside. And then we'll just put that yellow in there. So it kind of gives me that orangey kind of color. So let me try one with, oopsie. All right, so we'll do the yellow first. I'll try a little bit of this other one, a little bit. That's still coming out with the purple. Okay. Okay. So you just basically let all the colors are gonna meld together, and at the end you end up with some of these. Just put this away for a minute. There we go. So I end up with some of these leaves, which I love because I can play and doodle with them and do all kinds of stuff. So like taking a black pen, fine black pen. This one is not working so well. Let's see. Oh, maybe this one. And I like the kind of like the uneven lines when I'm tracing out these. I don't know, just because. And you can use gel pen. You can use this type of pen. I also have these markers. I'll try this one for this one. Oopsie. And do all kinds of different designs. Oh, I can use little these Posca pens. There. Ooh, it's a little bit soupy, but it's okay. I'm gonna let that has to dry. So with these, I like using them. Let me check, put a little bit of, I'll do it after. I'll cut it out first so I can show you. These are fun for adding them to other projects. So now, because I don't like the white all around it, I'm just going to take maybe this one, watercolor, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that pink shade just where the white is. Just so it's not so white. I could also put some ink, distress it with some ink, but basically you can do whatever it is that you want. Now with this, this is going to be another project. Okay, so that's what I do with this. I'm going to do some more leaves. I actually just threw the rest of it after because there was just a little bit left. So with this, I just ended up making like one. And so now I'm going to make some circles using my hole puncher. This is quite big, but I think it'll work anyway. Maybe I'm just going to use the smaller one. Yeah, I'll use this size. That's going to be too big, but anyway. Sorry for not being too organized, but anyway. So there you go. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to make some hole. Okay, and these will be, I'll just put this here but so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do different size holes, and then I'm going to put these on like such. Okay, so I will just do all kinds of designs with this. Okay, doesn't really matter what I do. Okay, So the idea is to make this look like flowers. And what we're going to do is, once you design whatever it is you want inside, then I will be taking, where's my green one? Okay. And they will be all different size. And then I'll cut out some green ones just to give you an idea. I'm just painting them in. Okay. What? So basically you could do a landscape, and you just have to continue drawing your little design inside of what you like. The black pens are great for that. There's all different size. So yeah, I'm due for some more pens because some of them are well used. So this one could be, and these are great for adding to your little books. Doesn't really matter. So anyway, just to kind of give you an idea. Okay. They could be drawn all differently. I like the messy look, but if you like things that are precise, that's okay too, right? Oh, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, just to kind of give you an idea of how different they can look, but you can make all kinds of these, and it's just a circle. Now I do have another one that cuts out like a scallop, and that one I think in my paddock book, which is a paddock book. This is the color scheme that was with the green on this one, which is the color of the paddock books, and I'll show you what you can do with those. I'll put this out of the way for a minute. Now, yeah, the desk gets quite congested, but with this little paddock book, which is another project that I'll be showing the video on, because I gotta make the cover. So this is this actual sheet of paper here, and that's why I work on the back sheet of it, because this is all going to be painted over, but right now it's just keeping my mess from going on my desk. And so what I did with this one is I folded it to make it look, but this is how you display your book. I think it's kind of cute because it's displaying your art, I should say. So I'm going to make two covers, and so you could have this as a print on the wall and this as a book. So it's just a different way of displaying it. So what I did is I actually took this, and then I just kind of collaged it over some of these, right? So I made little flowers. I collaged it. So you could basically use any of your papers. I didn't even glue that down too good, but I'll go back and glue and put over all the matte gel medium. I did a little bit of stenciling, mark making, stamping, and then so I'm not done. I'm just playing around with these, but if you wanted to put a leaf in there, you could, or make them smaller, and so you can add them to your, but that was all just a leftover paint. So this was this here, right? So this is the fun that you do with your And that was bubble wrap, music. So this is all stamping. Now, this one here, I drew a heart, or I stamped out a heart. And then I used this part here. And that's what I did with the stubby do. Okay? So that was like the hole that was left. So, I just made... there. So what I can do here is trace the heart so you would see it better too, right? Like this. So the idea behind having all these projects on the go is because some of them have to dry. So in between drying, you can do several little things. That's the idea. And, because you can stamp, let it dry, do some other projects, put numbers or whatever, but this all has to dry. And then from there, you can do some leaves or you can do other things, right? So this little book, or the paddock book it's called, okay? And so this one, I'll show you the back side of this. So for me to do this, I just painted all over this one, this side. And I did the grid on the back so you can see. So what's going to happen is I'm going to cut from one end to this, and then I'm going to cut this way to there and this way to there. So I'll do a video on that. But when you go and you fold it, when you're folding it this way, you end up with all these little, this is the square there. If I decide to do it this way, okay, then my book will end up being, instead of being this way, it's going to be on the portrait side instead of landscape. So they're kind of fun because you can open them flat, and then you can work on like 2 pages at a time. Okay? That's kind of fun. So I'm going to use this piece of paper, and I will do my mixed media all over it. I may even use some of these leftover papers to glue over it and paint all over it. So it may even be a different color palette as I'm working on my next color palette. Is going to be, I thought it was, since it's spring, I decided to use this kind of color palette, right? So it's got the tulips, and so I was just playing with my watercolors, and basically those are pretty much close to the colors. And so I'll see what kind of fun I can do, because what I like about these is that they might be colors that I may not want to use together, but I think once you play with them, you go, oh, okay, I may just choose to use 3 colors, or I could use, I like the purple and the greens a lot of times, like these two together, but maybe I'll use purple and pink in this little blood orange. It's kind of fun, right? So I think this would be kind of cool as a leaf too, to have more of the purple in there, or maybe some green. So I'll be able to decide. Maybe I'll make some of both. But with the leaf also, I made this little project, and that's going to be another one that we'll end up doing, because see, you can glue this little pop-up thing, but I just glue this on the band of this little, and I wrote love, so I can write little messages on there. But this is a little pop-up for a secret message, and this was just little drawings that I was making in another little book. And so I just wrote different things like relax, take care, and bloom. But you could put whatever little message you want in there. So it's a little, kind of like a little secret box that you can just put whatever you want. And so this is another origami thing that I can show you how to make this little pop-up with a sheet of paper. And then you just have like a little band, okay? And you put a little leaf. Now this fits inside those little origami boxes that I did the video for, so you can look for the origami boxes that are fun. You could put that inside, and it could be, with a little gift or something. So that's just fun. It's fun stuff to do. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm going to try to do more of these type of tutorial if I can keep your attention for that long. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel. I'm up to 130, I think 32 people. It's getting there. So it's a lot of fun for me to share this with you. There's lots of other things that I want to do. There's little scrolls and little books, and so they're all tiny projects, but they're fun. Anyway, uh, please like and share, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.